because of the neuropathy. Most of the disease occurs because of the neuroprotein. Now, what are the issues we are facing in the brain? See, the first issue we are facing is neurological diseases are unrecoverable diseases. न्यूरोलॉजिकल जो बीमारी होती है वो रिकवरेबल नहीं होती. पहले मन से ये भ्रम हटाइए कि रिकवर हो सकती है. 98% of the diseases in the neuroscience cannot be recovered. ये कभी भी ठीक नहीं होती, चाहे वो मिर्गी हो चाहे जो भी हो. So far we are concerned, yes, we have recovered large number of diseases, including infantile spasm, paralysis, typical type of paralysis, atypical type of paralysis, Guillain-Barré syndrome, वगैरह वगैरह. यानी अगर आप देखा जाए तो हम लोगों ने बहुत तरह की बीमारियों को रिकवर किया है. वरना ब्रेन से रिलेटेड जितनी भी बीमारियां हैं वो रिकवर नहीं होती. Because brain is based on a large electricity network of, बहुत एक नेटवर्क होता है ब्रेन के अंदर जिसके बेसिस पर वो बनती है. So let us study about the typical type of neurons. So this is a unipolar neuron and its primary extends to the soma and dendrites and axons. The principal neural cell type of intervertebrates. You will find this type of cells in the intervertebra, right? Where do you find these cells? In the intervertebra. This much is enough for you. Next. Now come multipolar neurons. The multi-dendrite branches from all parts of the soma and one axon. So there is one axon and then there is lot of dendrites like flowers. आवाज आ रही है? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So there are a large number of dendrites there. So you can many variations with length and number of dendrites, length of axon. The axons vary from size to size, right? Like pyramidal neuron, spinal motor neuron, and Purkinje neuron. Now you understood why we had taken different types of pain. Different types of pains are required because why? Because of the stimulations we provide to the brain. Each neural type of the geographical area, for example, we are selecting motor cortex. In this motor cortex area, there are neurons, but they need an optimum threshold to create an action. यानी उसको एक optimum झटका लगना होगा जिससे वो membrane potential से action potential में जाए. पर optimum मतलब जितनी उसकी जरूरत है. आज आपकी जरूरत 100 रुपए की और आप 2 रुपए का काम कर रहे हैं तो कौन पूछेगा आपको? कोई पूछेगा? कोई नहीं पूछेगा. तो जब तक आप 100 रुपए का, let us say a vending machine, you put 100 rupees, then only you get a 100 rupees scan. If you put 10 rupees for 100 rupees scan, will you get it?
No, sir.
Similarly, if you put unnecessary stimulation with unnecessary pain, you are not going to get any result. For now, in the world, there is no stimulation. The concept of stimulation does not exist. We were the first one to find out what do you mean by stimulation of the brain. Otherwise, there was only neurosurgical stimulation. DBS, NIBS does not certify to work on paralysis and any other such diseases. RTMS. You can see the classification multipolar neurons. You see the there are number of dendrites. Now here you see axon and unipolar. And this is unipolar. Bipolar means two polars. Here you see there are multiple dendrites. So the dendrites, Vinny, can you show the dendrites? Anyone is having this control on the, yeah, these are dendrites, correct. So this is called multipolar because it has multiple extension. Bipolar means in both the poles there are extensions. In the axon also and another part of the dendrite also. Now there are two information things which you might understand. The two informations which conveys in our body. What are they? Motor and sensory. You move your body because of what? Motor movements. So there are two type of movement. What is called afferent and afferent. What are two movements?
Afferent and efferent.
Please write down the spelling for the people, man. Then now it is based on the functions, interneuron, in between sensory and motor neuron. So the most difficulty in spinal cord injury जो होती है उसमें सबसे बड़ा प्रॉब्लम होता है interneuron communications का. So that is broken up. So sensory or motor neurons, in between sensory motor neurons, there is a interneurons. These neurons are broken up. यानी ये न्यूरॉन्स स्पाइनल कॉर्ड इंजरी में टूट जाते हैं. इसके कारण इंफॉर्मेशन फ्रॉम द लिम्ब टू द ब्रेन एंड ब्रेन टू द लिम्ब वो नहीं बन पाता है. एज ऑफ नाउ इन द वर्ल्ड देयर इज नो ट्रीटमेंट ऑफ दिस डिजीज, पर हम लोगों ने काफी लोगों को ठीक किया है एंड रिकवर किया है. So this something done on afferent different. Can we read in the previous slide? Did you understand what I said? आप समझे मैं क्या बोल रहा हूँ? Did you understand?
Yes, sir.
Everyone? If you have a doubt, please ask me.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes, tell me.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, afferent neurons refers to neurons or process extending towards the cell in question. So, one refers to neurons or process extending towards, you can say one is a sensory neuron, one is a motor neuron. Afferent and afferent. Clear?
Yes, sir.
One is a sensory, one is a motor.
Motor.
Right. By now, we are clear with 5 things. Neurons are classified into unipolar, bipolar, multipolar, right?
Right, sir.
Unipolar means only one side you have dendrites. Bipolar means on both the sides.
Multipolar हो गया.
Next. So these neuron cells are supported by another cells, which are called glial cells. Write down the glial cells. This is a very important concept you must understand. Five things you must understand. What? Unipolar, bipolar, multipolar. This is why we use different types of pain. Right? Number two, they do not have any action potential in them. So glial cells do not do any action in themselves. Unipolar, multipolar, bipolar, they have action in them, but glial cells do not have action. They are derived from neuroendermal and mesoendermal origin of the brain. So you must only understand glial cells are supporting cells to the main cells. What do you understand? Glial cells are the supporting cells. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
इससे पहले थोड़ा आ जाना हाँ, 6:45 7:30 6:45 बजे आ जाना 6:30 6:45
Next. No need all this for you. Next. So in MRI, you will see this type of structure of need not worry so much all this details. Next. Next. These squamous cells, they generally, when goes out of control, you'll see many 60% of the cancers are squamous cell cancers in our brain. So they generally come from the myelin sheath which insulates an axon in the peripheral nerve. They form the myelin sheath. What they form squamous cells? They form the myelin sheath. So when you have demyelinating neuropathy and all, it is a destruction of the squamous cells. बात समझ में आई? Now tell me who did not understand what they did not understand. किसको क्या समझ में आया नहीं आया बताएं. किसको समझ में आया वो भी बताएं.
Hello, sir. Sir, can you repeat this once?
Pardon me.
Can you repeat this once?
Which one you want me to repeat?
This one, neuroectodermal origin.
See, myelin sheath. They form the myelin sheath. See, generally, nerve conducts the conduction through the myelin sheath. It's the protection of the nerve. And these cells which creates the myelin sheath are called, or which forms the myelin sheath are called the scaven cells. Right? C cell means around the axons. Now the size of the nerve is like this, but the protection and the conduction takes place through the
Myelin
help
sheath.
of
It's like
myelin.
electric wire. Electric wire.
Yeah, you can
Yes.
understand the plastic covering of the electric wire is the myelin sheath.
Yes.
Yes. Once given cell associates with and multimyelinate segment of only one axon. Cells myelin axons are all surrounded by a basement membrane caused by. Now, whenever they say demyelinating neuropathy or any other disease, these cells are generally responsible. These cells are also, is found in many cases, they are responsible for creating cancer, squamous cell cancer, and more likely in higher stages, the prognosis is very poor. Next, next. So you can see the nucleus and the anatomical structure of the neurons. Next. Some functions as Kevin cells, but for this oligodendroglia cells. So these cells are also classified as the same category cells of Schwann cells, right? As small around dense nuclei, unlike Schwann cells, can myelinate a segment of nerve axons. No basement membrane surrounds the axon like Schwann cells do in PNS. These features affect the ability of CNS cells to regenerate the following injury. See, now the problem is if any damage happens in the PNS means peripheral nervous system. There is no basement membrane surrounds the axons like Schwann cells do in PNS. So these cells, oligodendria cells, are damaged. Demyelination happens in the central nervous system, right? Then there is no protection to it. Patient will sink and he will die. Am I clear? So if there is any injury in the CNS, central nervous system, it becomes difficult to regenerate and refunction. One will go behind, one slide behind.
So I have a question.
Yes, tell me.
Sir, neuroplasty play roles here, sir?
See, not in
This
oligodendria cells.
with this myelin sheath covering or neuron
See,
part only.
that part I want to teach you, but that part is taught in revision class.
Okay, sir. Okay.
We are teaching you something about the basics of medical neuroscience. See, what is the problem with our people? Uh, can we stop this slides for 5 minutes and talk some general conversation about central nervous system? Uh, Are you ready for that? Or you want to go with the slides? Or you want to have a discussion with me?
Wonder discussion, sir.
Discussion,
Yes.
sir.
Yes. All of you agree to it, or you want to continue with the slides?
I agree with you, sir.
Everyone is with me, right? Thank you so much.
Agree with you.
Yeah, thank you so much for your kindness and compassion for me. See, central nervous system has multi types of cells. We have given you a general idea. Now, whenever there is a degeneration in myelin sheath of the cell, first of all, you must understand myelin sheath if it damages, if there is a burning sensation, or any type of sensation like in multiple sclerosis, this is damage to the brain. It creates neuroprotein inside the brain and it damages the myelin sheath of the neurons. When the myelin sheath of the neuron is damaged, the neurons are dead. Generally, what happens in stroke and all, these cells do not regenerate again. And that is why keep on doing exercise and exercise, you become spastic. यानी एक बार आपके ब्रेन में डैमेज हो जाता है तो ये सेल्स रीजनरेट नहीं हो पाती. Oligodendrocytes and all these cells, बहुत सारे cells जो रीजनरेट नहीं होते. उसको रीजनरेट करवाने के लिए की जरूरत भी नहीं पड़ती. उस ब्रेन के अदर फंक्शंस भी हैं कि ऐसा नहीं कि हम हार गए. वी हैव लॉस्ट द बैटल, इट इज नॉट लाइक दैट. हम किसी तरह से बैटल हारे नहीं है. बैटल कैन बी वॉन अंटिल इट इज लॉस्ट. क्या कहते हैं? बैटल कैन बी वॉन अंटिल इट इज लॉस्ट.
Lot.
Yes. So sorry. So what happens when you give a impulse in the brain? So this is the brain. ये हमारा मस्तिष्क है. Now this area, which is the motor cortex area, which supplies from this artery is called what? This artery, what you have seen, is called what? MC artery, right?
MCA.
Yeah, this is the central sulcus. So if you see the brain, it is the what? Central sulcus and precentral sulcus. This is the homunculus. Now MC artery, when it's damaged, these neurons of this area, which are unipolar, multipolar, and bipolar, whatever be there, they do not regenerate. As a result, when you do exercise of the right side, which is the affected limb, it is done for what? For the wasting of muscles. But exercise is not required, movements are required. But what we have converted it into an exercise because of some wrong concepts of understanding the brain. ब्रेन के कुछ कॉन्सेप्ट्स को गलत तरीके से समझने के कारण हमने उसको एक्सरसाइज में कन्वर्ट कर दिया. अब एक्सरसाइज में कन्वर्ट करने से क्या हुआ? वो स्पास्टिसिटी हो गया. बिकॉज वी कन्वर्टेड इट इनटू एक्सरसाइज, दे बिकम स्पास्टिक. मींस अननेचुरल सिग्नल्स वेंस इनसाइड द ब्रेन. अननेचुरल मतलब बेढंग के सिग्नल चले गए ब्रेन में, उल्टा पुल्टा काम हो गया. उल्टा पुल्टा काम होने के कारण उल्टा पुल्टा रिजल्ट आया. इसके कारण ये स्पास्टिसिटी जनरेट हो गई. Otherwise, there is no reason of spasticity in the brain. I have treated large number of patients. I don't think patient goes to spasticity so soon. वो तो spasticity से निकल जाता है, पर उससे निकलने के लिए आपको मेहनत करनी पड़ती है. Otherwise, there is no treatment of the disease. Now, at this point of time, you may ask me some questions. Please ask your questions.
Now, recently, people are saying that the brain can be regenerated. So, what are the nerve cell that's been regenerated?
See, generally, neurons can be regenerated. Neurons are supported by glial cells, So the toxic material of the glial cells, which is produced during membrane and action potential, is removed by the glial cell. Glial is a nursing cells, right? It helps to remove the toxins of the action potentials, right? So
Yes.
when we see oligochondral cells and other cells which do not have capacity to regenerate naturally, they and you keep doing exercise in the brain, because once the brain area is dead, motor cortex is dead, how can you recover it? That is the main question comes here. Can you recover a motor cortex? हम motor cortex को क्या repair कर सकते हैं? Yes, you can repair by the concept of neuroplasticity, but for which patient has to be fully prepared. Otherwise, very difficult to recover a patient. Yes. More questions?
Do you mean, sir, when you said that the patient should be fully prepared?
Yes, until your patient is in mind, you want to recover, until you have time, until you have economy, until you are totally prepared to defeat your disease, you cannot defeat. Spinal cord injury and all are lifelong diseases. They come to us for a particular purpose, we solve their purpose and they go away. After 5 years, they will say you that the needle which was placed 5 months back still having the pain. And वही बात करेगा कि cells मरते वक्त किसको information convey करे? Never को, yes. Conveys information to his neighboring cells, and that we call it synaptic plasticity. The information is conveyed, and spasticity can be recovered only by what? Brain stimulation. Even epilepsy can be recovered by brain stimulation. But your problem is you do not know brain stimulation. So what anyone can do?
Thank you, sir.
More questions, please.
G, good evening.
Sir,
Can I refer a question back from the revision class?
yes, sir.
Okay, because I think last week you shown a case of a young man had a transected spinal cord. Remember that case?
The
So
fracture,
yeah, so he could stand and walk. So I'd like to know what would happen to the spinal cord now. Is it being restored or something?
generally, it's 10 to 5 to 6 years they have written.
So you were to take the MRI now, what can I see?
See, what to do with the MRI? First of all, you have to go clinically in any of the cases. MRI is taken to see the anatomical damage. But when at your practice, MRI is not required because you work clinically with the patient. Most of our TCM doctors do not even know how to see an MRI, number one. So clinically, if you go and see this case, what will you see? You will see recovery in the patient.
No, I understand that, but I mean, since you have already recovered him, right? So you were to take the MRI, would the spinal cord be restored or still the same?
Pardon me, what was your question?
No, I mean, since that young man, you have recovered him, right?
Yes, up to 50% spinal muscular atrophy has been recovered. You're
Yeah,
saying about
so
that case?
assuming that we have a MRI now, what can I see from the spinal cord? Would it be still transected or recovered to some extent?
So I think we can't see neurons in the MRI.
You're right.
So they are working. That's why he is working. Communication is there, so the things are doing well.
So the condition of the spinal cord, it would be still the same, am I right to say that?
Yes, you're right. That is why we have made different types of pains, because each pain has its own intensity and each way of working. The needle, the mapping, all what you are hearing is a very shortcut way of making you understand how brain spasticity can be reduced. Because spasticity is not created from the muscles, it is created in the where?
Brain.
The brain.
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 You're right. In simple language, you can recover spasticity very nicely.
So what is the frequency of your pain? The various pain?
It's the origin of the disease which tells me which part of the brain scalp I have to touch. Because we have made the holography. According to the holography, we insert the needle and touch the pain. Today you will have to know you have recovered a very old case of 10 to the frozen shoulder in just 5 minutes. So coming to the class, I did that case and then I came to the class. Hmm. Did you understand what did I say, Rodney? Rodney, did you understand what did I say?
No, very clearly.
What is your specific question?
No, the specific question is I want to know, since the spinal cord was transected, now that he has recovered, at least can stand and can sit on the bed, would the spinal cord,
That we know that the process of building the interneuron communication, that's where my work role starts. I have processed several types of stem cells in a particular method, and then I inject it near the spinal cord, not crossing the cord. I'm not going the canal. I insert it near the canal. And the patient, yes.
can hear you?
See, I'm a little sleepy also. Sometimes I skip your questions.
No, I mean, at the end of the day, it's just like the road, the spinal cord, like the road, right? So they say the road,
So, see, once the road is destroyed, you can rebuild the road.
yeah, so
Only
with
you
the
must,
spinal cord,
I have that's what I'm saying. The spinal cord injury is recoverable cases only. We have to work on that. Now you understood. First question was why we need so much pain. Do we have different approach for instead of this pain in recovering neuro and ortho diseases? I found we don't have anything in the market which can recover a patient.
no, that agree. I know you have,
No, I'm telling you.
yeah.
Not only to you, to the other class. Now, why we need different types of brain? See, the muscles have emotions. They have to express emotions, right? I'm smiling. But if my dopamine level goes down, I'll be keep crying.
Mm.
I'll keep frowning. I'll be always like this in CBGD. So, what do you understand? The neurons have their own activities. Once it is damaged, we know it may be regenerated, or it can be recovered, or it can be what? Synaptic plasticity can take place. Anything can take place inside the brain, or which the science does not explain much. But so far, our method is concerned, we have seen results immediately on the patient, whether it is myositis, whether it's MND patients, whether it is like that. The only problem which the community was that no one was interested to learn it seriously. More questions? Okay, start the slides. See, one important thing. Go back. These features affect ability of CNS cells to regenerate following injury. So these features, because they don't have the basement membrane, what they don't have? They don't have the basement membrane. You should write down this note. Who? Oligodendrogolia cells. Oligodendrogolia cells. So what happens? They don't have basement. Because of the lack of basement, they don't have the ability to regenerate inside the brain. And so they cannot recover a brain injury. And that is why it is called CVA. What we call CVA. Stroke is called as CVA. Cerebral vascular accident. Means an accident has taken place inside the brain. Why it is called accident? Now if you show the definition of the two things has to be accidental and it becomes irreparable. So whenever there is an infarct or anything in the brain, at the minor level, at grade 2 level, you can recover. But at the grade 3 and grade 4 level, you cannot recover. So we have recovered the patients in grade 3 level also and grade 4 level also. So it's all up to you. How do you want to recover the patient? Next. That is why I say brain stimulation is very important. Not only important in functioning of the brain, but because of excessive pain, myelin sheath of the nerve is damaged. Because of which you have what? Burning sensation in the feet. आप देखेंगे आपके पैरों में बहुत जलन होती है. क्यों? माइलिन शीट ऑफ द नर्व जो होती है वो डैमेज हो जाती है. वो डैमेज हो जाने के कारण आपको बहुत जलन होती है. क्यों? अब नर्व डिजेनरेट होने लग गई. तो प्रोटेक्शन ऑफ द नर्व इज गॉन. Am I clear? आवाज आ रही है?
Yes, sir.
आवाज क्लियर है मेरी? क्लियर आ रही है?
Yes, sir. Clear.
Yes, sir, clear, clear.
कोई तकलीफ तो नहीं हो रही आवाज सुनने में?
कोई नहीं सर, कोई नहीं।
नहीं सर.
बुरा मत मानिए, थोड़ी बहुत नींद आ जाती है कभी कभी. Don't mind. I fall asleep because I have to work up to 6 o'clock in the morning. आप लोगों ने जो पेशेंट्स मुझे भेजे वो इतने अच्छे पेशेंट नहीं है. But we have to recover them because they have to recover for their life. And generally in medical science, this
Please mind your microphone, please.
see now the question is every physician, whichever I have seen, whether a physiotherapist and all, they don't spend hours with the patient. What I do is I spend hours with the patient. Hours means, see, I don't have a family, I don't have a friend. So what I do, I spend around 20 hours, 22 hours. Those who are critical patients, I take them at 10 o'clock and I start them up to morning 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock or 6 o'clock in the morning. Sometimes I spend 3 hours, 4 hours with a single patient. Why? Because that time is required to recover them. Already so much damage has happened. You are saying 3 months. I say they cannot recover for 32 years. They have not recovered. 3 months is very small time you have given me. They are putting so much pressure that if I don't produce results, people will never come to me. So I have to do 33 years damage, repair damage in 1 month to a significant level. And that is why I know the behavior of the brain, that yes, it can replace, it can regenerate, and it can recover. Brain is not dependent on one cell. Brain is not dependent on one thing. Brain has multiple process, multiple activities, and brain can do multiple things. It's only we who have not understood it. ब्रेन की बहुत बढ़िया कैपेसिटी है काम करने की, मल्टीपल एक्टिविटी, मल्टीपल टास्क ओरिएंटेड, वो 1000 बिलियन ईयर्स के बाद से बनते हुए आया आ रहा है. वी गो विद डार्विन्स थ्योरी. डार्विन्स थ्योरी के हिसाब से चले तो हजारों साल से बनते हुए ये नेटवर्क चलते आ रहे हैं. तो अब आपके ऊपर है कि आप क्या चाहते हैं. What do you want? To revive or recover the patient? Is revival of the patient is different. It is done in ICU, but recovery is to be done by you people. There is the poorest recovery. We have finest surgeries, finest ICU, poorest recovery. The recovery rate of any disease, generally in neuro disease, is 0.1% or 1% or 2%. That's all. Otherwise, there is no recovery. इसलिए अलग अलग तरह की ब्रेन बनाई गई, अलग अलग तरह के काम किए गए. अब अलग तरीके से अगर आप ब्रेन को अप्रोच करेंगे तो ही ब्रेन को समझ पाएंगे. सीधे तरीके से ब्रेन को अप्रोच करेंगे आपको कुछ भी समझ में नहीं आएगा. You will understand nothing about the brain and you will not be able to do any case successfully in your life. This is what I can say you with my experience. अगर आप ब्रेन को ठीक से नहीं समझेंगे, ठीक से नहीं करेंगे, शॉर्टकट तरीके अब मैं आपको सिखा सकता हूँ, like the blessing scale, high lam, more lam techniques. मैंने ज्यादा एनाटॉमी क्यों नहीं पढ़ाई? I did not teach you anatomy because you are not much from medical background. You may not be interested to know much about anatomy. No, it is much important for yourselves to understand too much of the anatomy. Some anatomy you must know that why we need to use different types of pains. Some anatomy you must know why stimulus, why pain is required, why massager pain is not required, why stimulating pain is required. All this you must know. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So working with the brain is, I tell you guys, it's really a fun. For me, I don't like to sleep in my bed before 6 o'clock in the morning. You'll see a message in my Facebook. So we have, my humble request to all my people that we have started the seminar on 22nd of April. Please give it some publicity so that the knowledge is spread on before my death. My health is not very good and still I have to take a workload. I'm lucky because of the Zoom class, I got 3 physiotherapists here. One was forwarded from Calcutta, one from Delhi, one from this other person, Aditya Khare, has taken the workload of acupuncture. But all these boys have started learning. And after some time, you can see these flowers will become a real beautiful flower which can give beauty to the garden. Even you can become. The problem with you is that you never understood that. You understood paralysis, the non-movement of the muscles. But did you understand what kind of paralysis he is having? What is anatomical change in the brain? Can we change the anatomical changes and neurophysiological changes inside the brain and the body? This is the biggest question we have. आज हमारे पास सबसे बड़ा सवाल है कि हम ब्रेन को चेंज कर सकते हैं डैमेज होने के बाद. कैन ब्रेन बी रिपेयर्ड? यस और नो? यस, ब्रेन कैन बी रिपेयर्ड. ये बात तो साबित हो गई. कितनी परसेंट तक कर सकते हैं? मेरे पास आज 70% ब्रेन डैमेज किया हुआ पेशेंट है. वो आज खड़ा होने लगा है. अब कुछ दिनों के बाद वो चलने भी लगेगा. जिस आदमी को उठाने के लिए 6 आदमी चाहिए थे, आज वो एक आदमी के भरोसे उठ जाता है. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
So the questions primarily we have that you always see paralysis. So you always insert needles here. Please close these slides. Generally, this type of classes are made for you to understand the concepts of about brain, not to put your mind with so much knowledge. So the oligodendrocyte cell is this one. You can see how cells are interconnected. So now if this cell is damaged or the neurons are damaged, now you can understand how there will be cellular communication in between each other. If there is no cellular intercellular communication between each other, if the G lymphatic system is not working, how brain will function? If the brain is not functioning, you will suffer from more and more disease. बस इतनी सी तो बात है. You may close this and we may have some discussion. Almost 9:30. Yes, we can have 30 minutes discussion today. Close this site. See, basically you have to clear your concepts. Knowledge you can read from YouTube and all, but the doubts of your mind are not cleared. Then you cannot grow your mind. First is your doubt. दिमाग में doubt or suspicion. These are two things which kills the mind. रामायण में ये लिखा हुआ है. In whole Ramayana and Mahabharata, there were two things only which created the entire war. One is doubt, one is suspicion. So first thing is remove your suspicion and clear your doubts. Please close this slides, focus me and hear me.
Win, close the slide, please.
Winnie, I think, is feeling asleep. She's too tired. Often, I really feel pity on you, my child. Really, God bless you, my child. Winnie has done really a very good job. After doing a whole day job, again working for me, I can only say, Winnie, God bless you. And I'll also request some Singaporeans to donate some money to Winnie for a wonderful job. You all have done good job. Singaporeans are really good. The most important thing about Malaysia and Singapore, what I like is they really form a family. And that is what I like with them. They are just like the brain neural cells. If one is not functioning, the other will take over. It's like our coordinators. Huh? Vinny is not working, so any other co-host can close the slides. Yes, very good. Now see, brain is a very beautiful thing where you can recover. The most of the patients who have not recovered from this motor cortex area, from here, you can see, or from any other area, they have not recovered only because of this. Now you can see, we have generated stem cells from the bone marrow. Now you can see there is bubbles of cells, right?
Yeah,
These are the stems of the cell,
the most upper layer.
the most top layer, or you can say top layer. You can see these cells also, but this is a mixed one now. It's already mixed. Now if I do keep mixing it, it will, if I keep moving it like this, you want, everything will disappear. So I keep it properly. So we could see that stem cells which are very costly in your country,